Centuries of religious artists have portrayed the Apostle Paul sitting alone in a dark room with a candle burning as he writes his letters, but this is almost certainly not how his letters were actually written. Hi, I'm Michael Barber. I'm professor of biblical studies and theology here at the Augustine Institute Graduate School. We're located in North County, St. Louis, Missouri, and this is part 7 of a series I'm doing here on letter writing in antiquity and Paul's letters. Now, as we've seen, Paul was not sitting alone, pen in hand. His letters were clearly written through an amanuensis. Paul, like other writers, dictated his letters to a scribe. Now, we know that Tertius was the writer of Romans. We don't know the names of the writers to other letters. Another point that, we would want to emphasize here, Paul may have also used an amanuensis as a substitute writer, like Cicero did. And this could help explain why there are so many marked stylistic differences, vocabulary and otherwise, in some of the Pauline letters. Scholars generally agree that 7 of the Pauline letters were genuinely authored by Paul. There are some letters, however, that are disputed. It's hard to get hard data on where scholars are on this in terms of numbers of scholars. There have been some surveys that are sometimes talked about. One is associated with the New Testament scholar Paul Foster, who actually published the results in a peer-reviewed journal, the Journal for the Study of the New Testament. He published that in 2012. The disputed letters are Ephesians, Colossians, 2nd Thessalonians, and the letters known as the pastorals. That's 1 Timothy, 2 Timothy, and Titus. You can see that among these in this survey, I'm putting it up there on the screen, the majority still think 2nd Thessalonians is authored by Paul. Colossians isn't far behind. On the other end of the spectrum, the pastorals are overwhelmingly doubted as authentic letters of Paul. Now, a more recent survey was conducted in 2025, and it wasn't peer-reviewed and in a journal, but I like the way it's worded. It doesn't simply talk about letters written by Paul or not written by Paul. It uses a kind of sliding scale, a more nuanced approach to the spectrum of activity that would maybe include an amanuensis and an amanuensis's engagement. So the survey asks whether Paul was significantly involved or somewhat involved, also not involved or unsure. Once again, in this survey, see 2nd Thessalonians and Colossians have strong support as genuinely authored by Paul in some way. Some scholars want to defend all the letters of Paul, and some of them will say that the stylistic differences are negligible. I don't think that's convincing at all. But if someone does want to maintain that Paul authorized letters listed among the disputed set, there is a real case there based on the fact that an amanuensis could be granted a lot of freedom to simply write as a kind of substitute author. The amanuensis knew the writer's thought. So someone who knew Paul's thoughts, his positions, well as teaching, could be deputized to write in his name. I'm not sure how you could ever prove that Paul did not do this. That's not the same thing, obviously, as saying this is the most persuasive explanation for why Paul's letters have thematic and stylistic differences, substantive differences. Uh, I can't go into all the issues at length here, but hopefully this will help give you an insight into some of the issues at play here. Please leave a comment. Love to hear your thoughts on this. And if you've enjoyed this video, hit that like button. And if you would, share the video with others. Make sure you subscribe, follow this account so you don't miss more content. Thank you so much for watching.